Did you know Venezuela once stood as Latin America's richest nation? This tale is fascinating. It all started 2 centuries ago with strong ties between the US and Venezuela. Hope, trade and shared ideals connected these nations. Venezuela went from riches to ruin. But then came oil. The discovery changed everything. Oil turned into power, and power led to corruption. As oil prices soared, greed grew rampant. Over decades, politics eroded prosperity. The nation fell while once thriving on oil wealth. From Bolivar's dreams to Biden's policies, this rivalry shaped the Americas. Warships now patrol Caribbean waters, representing ongoing tensions. This is the story of how a promising alliance turned into a failed petrostate. It's a complex narrative but vital for understanding today's political chaos. As we move forward, remember the lessons of history.
It all begins with a dream of freedom. The year is 1821. South America is ablaze with revolution. A great and bloody struggle to cast off the Spanish Empire after 3 centuries of rule. At the heart of this fire is a man named Simón Bolívar. He is a visionary. He is a general. He is a liberator. His forces march across mountains out of old colonies. On the fields of Carabobo, the fate of Venezuela is sealed. Independence is won. A republic is born. Bolívar dreams of a united Gran Colombia, a powerful bloc of free nations. But this dream is fragile. The early years are hard. The cost of war has been immense. The land is scarred. The economy is in ruins. Leaders who follow Bolívar face an enormous task: to build a nation from scratch. The reality of stability remains just out of reach. For much of the 19th century, Venezuela is a quiet agrarian society, rich in land but poor in capital. But the land holds a secret, a black liquid treasure: oil. Its discovery rewrites the nation's destiny, drawing the eyes of the world. To the north, the United States watches, its Monroe Doctrine casting a long shadow over the region. For Venezuela, the relationship with the United States was complex and unequal, but the discovery of oil changed everything. Suddenly, Venezuela was not just another nation, it was a strategic asset. American and European oil companies rushed in, securing vast concessions. The oil that flowed from its wells helped fuel the Allied victory in World War II and powered the post-war economic boom. The flow of oil dollars modernized the country, but also tied Venezuela's fate inextricably to the United States, setting a precedent that would shape the nation for the rest of the century. After the turmoil of World War II, a new era of promise dawns in Venezuela. The world is thirsty for oil, and Venezuela has it in abundance. Revenues flow into state coffers. Staggering. That wealth fuels unprecedented growth. From the 1940s through the 1970s, Venezuela seems like a South American miracle. The Punta Fijo Pact brings political stability after dictatorships. 2 major parties agree to share power. For a time, it appears to guarantee progress. For many Venezuelans, it feels like the future has arrived. Caracas becomes the symbol of modernity, a city remade by oil. Sleek highways, towering skyscrapers, a hub of culture, finance, fashion. Money pays for ambitious public works. New roads, modern airports, sprawling universities, state-of-the-art hospitals. A prosperous middle class emerges. People flow from the country helps found OPEC, a powerful voice. Its leaders are respected on the world stage. Elections are held, power transfers peacefully, political debate flourishes. Bolívar's promise of a republic governed by law feels within reach. Oil wealth is seen as a blessing, the engine of development. But beneath the gleam, dangerous dependencies form. The economy rests on a single pillar: oil. Agriculture and other industries are neglected and wither. The state, flush with cash, centrally controls wealth. Concentrated power breeds patronage and corruption. In 1976, President Carlos Andrés Pérez makes a momentous decision. He announces the nationalization of the oil industry. The foreign companies that had dominated the sector for decades are bought out. The state takes full control of its most precious resource. On the surface, it is a declaration of economic sovereignty, a popular and patriotic move. The new state-owned company PDVSA is created. All the profits from Venezuela's oil will belong to the Venezuelan people for national development. At first, the plan seems to work. Global oil prices are high and state revenues swell. The government embarks on a massive spending spree. Ambitious industrial projects, expanding social programs, but nationalization alters the relationship between state and economy. The government stops being just a regulator and becomes owner-operator. PDVSA becomes a state within a state, its budget tied to the treasury. Political priorities, rather than technical or commercial logic, start shaping decisions. The state's payroll expands with politically loyal appointees. The dark side appears. In the 1980s, oil prices fall and the state is hit hard. The government had borrowed heavily against future oil earnings. Income shrinks, obligations remain. The country sinks into debt. The economy never diversified beyond oil. No other engine powers growth. Austerity cuts social programs. The dream of endless prosperity unravels. Ordinary people suffer. Inflation spirals. The currency collapses in value. Jobs vanish. As public services decayed and inequality grew, discontent simmered. In 1989, riots known as the Caracazo erupted. The government's brutal response shattered trust in the political system. Into this vacuum stepped a young Army Lieutenant Colonel, Hugo Chávez. In 1992, he led a failed military coup, but a televised speech before his arrest made him an instant hero. Released from prison, he built a grassroots movement, condemning the corrupt establishment and the forces of neoliberal globalization. He invokes the name and legacy of Simón Bolívar, promising to complete the liberator's unfinished revolution. He calls his vision the Bolivarian Revolution, a promise to redistribute the nation's oil wealth and give power to the people. In 1998, he runs for president and he wins in a landslide. Once in power, Chávez moves quickly to consolidate his authority and implement his agenda. He pushes for a new constitution, which is approved by a popular referendum. It renames the country the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and strengthens the power of the presidency. Using high oil prices, he launches a series of ambitious social programs known as misiones. These programs provide free healthcare education and subsidized food to the poorest communities. For his supporters, he is a savior, fulfilling the promise to use the nation's wealth for the benefit of the many, not the few. But for his opponents, his actions are alarming. They see a leader who is dismantling democratic checks and balances and steering the country toward authoritarian rule. By 2002, Venezuelan society is polarized to a degree never seen before. The nation is split into two fiercely opposing camps. The Chavistas, passionate supporters of their president. The opposition, who see him as a dictator in waiting. Political rhetoric turns inflammatory. Opposition coalition, business leaders, old political parties, media owners, a segment of the middle class. They organize massive street protests. They mount crippling strikes. They accuse Chávez of destroying the economy. They accuse him of violating human rights. They accuse him of aligning with rogue states. Chávez labels his opponents traitors and agents of the American empire. He says they want to roll back the gains of his revolution. The conflict takes on an international dimension. Chávez becomes a vocal critic of the United States.
Vice President Cheney.
Then came April 2002, the failed coup attempt that changed everything. For 48 hours, Chávez was removed, and a U.S.-friendly government took power. But massive protests brought Chávez back. He accused the United States of orchestrating the coup, something Washington denied. Still, leaked documents showed American agencies had funded opposition groups through so-called democracy programs. Trust was gone. Chávez declared the U.S. an enemy and began aligning with Cuba, Iran, and Russia. He even called George W. Bush the devil at the United Nations.
Right in the house. And the devil came here yesterday. Yesterday, the devil came here. President of the United States, the gentleman to whom I refer as the devil, came here.
United Nations, and used oil as his weapon. When oil prices soared again in the 2000s, Chávez was unstoppable. But instead of investing, he spent recklessly. Billions went abroad, corruption went unchecked, and the infrastructure collapsed. Then in 2013, Chávez died of cancer, and Nicolás Maduro inherited a sinking ship. Maduro promised continuity, but brought chaos. He printed more money, turning inflation into hyperinflation. By 2018, the Bolívar was worthless. Millions fled, hospitals ran out of supplies, and the government tightened its grip. Meanwhile, drug trafficking and smuggling became state-linked industries. The United States imposed sanctions, but Maduro held on, backed by Russia, China, and Iran. By the 2020s, Venezuela became a proxy front in a new Cold War. Russia deployed warships. China poured in billions, demanding oil in return. Iran quietly shipped fuel to bypass sanctions. And now, with U.S. naval deployments near the Caribbean, the tension feels familiar, Cold War 2.0, right next to Florida. For the United States, it's an alarming sign, great power rivalry has come home. So why did the U.S. and Venezuela become enemies? Because oil made them partners, then power made them rivals. Because corruption turned the world's richest oil nation into a collapsed state. Now, with Russia and China in the mix, the struggle is no longer local, it's global. If you want the truth behind world power, without the bias, without the blindfold, subscribe to, because every headline has a history.